Hello.
Hey, what's going on there?
Lots going on. A lot's going on. Well, to our viewers, we decided to just have an episode where Donna and I are kind of circling back on everything that's happened in the country since the last time her and I talked. We decided to devote this Mothers Against Racism episode, a conversation about race from a mother's perspective, to current events, things that have been happening since the George Floyd's murder. When we decided to obviously create a platform for mothers to discuss different racial and social injustice issues. So here we are again. We are excited to be here. This is another great opportunity for us to not only conversate but also share some resources and enlighten some mothers out there who may be at a loss as to everything that's going on in the world. We just want to be a resource. We want to provide a platform. Just to our viewers, we will open up our discussion for question and answers. You could just go right into the chat and ask any question you want. If there's a topic you want us to discuss, please put it in the chat and we'll discuss. Again, we're just mothers. We're not, politicians. We're not, you know, uh, activists. We're not professionals in terms of race issues. We are just mothers who are tired of racism and want to see it eradicated and ended, and we are willing to do our part. So, again,
Yep.
welcome.
Yeah. And you touched on something good there that I like that, we are just mothers and
Mhm.
not just mothers, but mothers who've decided that enough's enough.
Yes.
And that we can make a difference, and we are, and we're a growing little movement here, and it's been quite the journey.
Yes.
A lot of enlightenment. I think I know everything, and I find out how much more I need to learn.
Right.
um, but it's been Dania's like comes from the basketball world, and
Hmm.
I do financial consulting, and I do lots of other things, but I run a foundation for elephants, and here I am. Here we are doing this thing on racism because it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important, and there have been so many things going on since the last couple episodes we've had really fantastic guests, and we have a
Oh
great
yeah.
guest coming up.
Oh yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
mayor of Gloucester, Safathia. She's just a terrific woman, and I can't wait for everyone to meet her. She's pretty remarkable. And she's a very strong woman, and she's had a very interesting life, and she actually opened our little Gloucester, Massachusetts city. She opened up our protests, our Black Lives Matter protest, and she spoke at it, and everyone marched to City Hall, and there she was, open arms, saying, "Yeah," you know,
Great.
and yes, how what a breath of fresh air she is for our community.
Hmm.
She's out there, and so you'll hear all about her next week.
Good. Well,
But
I'm excited. I'm excited about talking to her and excited about meeting her. I actually watched some of her videos prior to, us having her on, and I was just blown away by her
yeah,
energy, her passion, her personality. A
yeah.
very dynamic person. But like we've touched upon, we've had a lot of dynamic guests since we've been on.
Oh yeah, we
We
have. We've
started
been
off with
so
Wanda.
lucky.
We started off with Wanda Durant, who was very very passionate about raising her sons and really being cognizant of the fact that they grew up in a different era than she has, and it's mentioned that she didn't they didn't recognize racism as much as she probably did when she was a child. She mentioned having a kindergarten teacher that never smiled at her, and I thought
Oh
that was
yeah,
very very poignant when she said that, because as a child you're constantly looking to please your teacher, and to not get that reciprocated, I'm sure was devastating
yep.
to
No,
her.
I
But
agree.
needless to say, I think even though that happened to her, she didn't like raise her children with that, like everyone is like my kindergarten teacher. She let
Right.
them both go out into their own and develop their own, opinion of racism and inclusivity. And I thought that was very admirable of her, because when you're so young and you get you experience something so traumatic, it's very easy to think everyone is like that, and
That's
that's
right.
the way the world is. So I was very, very happy to see that she overcame that and really remained open and
Yep.
allow her children to just go through the world and make their own impression about.
Yeah,
Uh,
and she really pushed her children out there, like, really pushed hard to, like, sink or swim there. And
yeah, yeah,
I guess it turned out all right.
yeah. And basketball was the vehicle for them. Basketball was the vehicle that allowed them to really get exposed to different people from different areas of the
Right.
country, and just rely heavily on your talent and really let that speak volumes for who you are as a person.
That's right.
And I think she did a great job at that.
Right, and there our other guest, Christina Perez, she
Yes.
was remarkable, but
Oh, wonderful.
her story was, of her father and her mother. Her father being, so discriminated against,
Hmm.
working as a janitor to save money,
Yeah.
and is, a great surgeon today. And
Of course.
what a story that is, and the discrimination and obstacles he overcame, and just never gave up. And what a great story that is. And she was very remarkable too. So we've had some great people, and great
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
coming. We're lining up all kinds of wonderful people to come on board to talk with us. And so it's been quite the journey for
Yeah.
Dania and myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other thing, though, I wanted to mention was, so many things have happened since, we had a chance to just do some catch up here, or
Yeah.
do our little housekeeping. And for instance, the grand jury came back, in Louisville, Kentucky. I think we all know what I'm referring to. And it's disheartening for that family. They had this lovely daughter, and that's disheartening at best, I guess. Um, and what I'm looking forward to hearing is that I think they are going to release those grand jury tapes, aren't they,
Yeah.
Dania?
Yes. Yes. And unfortunately, I think for me, I really never delved into the Breonna Taylor case as much as I probably should have. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw the Attorney General um, speaking about the case, I had a little sense of relief because I said, okay, here's a black man, and he's the Attorney General, so he understands the importance of this case. He understands the importance of getting to the bottom of this to making sure there was no injustice. Like he had a different perspective than I thought any other person would have, simply because he was a black man. And that was
Mm,
prior to me doing any research on him, any research on the case. I was like, okay,
yep.
if he's saying that nothing egregious happened and these police officers were simply doing their job and therefore were not culpable for the death of
Hmm.
Breonna Taylor, for a moment I believed it. For a moment I believed it. But here's what I
Hmm.
did:
Okay.
power of Google. So
Okay.
while he's talking, I'm Googling his name, okay? And then all these things pop up about him, how he spoke at the RNC,
Hmm.
and how it said, you don't know how true this is, but it said he has some sort of affiliation with Mitch McConnell. And so clearly, based on what I read while he's speaking, he's a Republican, a staunch Republican. Whatever, whatever. He neither here or there, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter. But in kind of investigating him a little bit more, and then hearing other people's comments about the case, other people's comments about who didn't present the charges to the grand jury on the case on behalf of the cop that actually shot Breonna Taylor. I guess the ballistic evidence really showed who shot which cop, which officer, and I think it was Musgrove, which officer's gun really killed her, how many times she was shot. So as I'm reading more and more about this case, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. If I'm a layperson and have no idea about law or prosecution or anything, I'm seeing some things here that just don't smell right. And how
Mm,
could you be
okay.
an attorney general that's exposed to way more information than I am as a layperson and not pursue more charges than just what was it? What was the charge for the police officer that shot 10 times into the wall? I forgot what the term is called, but I just felt like as a layperson listening and getting more information on the case, which was something I didn't do prior, I saw smoking guns. I saw red flags.
Right.
I just don't see how, as an attorney general, it was a better case wasn't presented to the grand jury, a more solid case.
Right. And, sometimes I think, and I'm not certain this is so in this case, I think we'll
Right.
know a lot more when we see the evidence that was presented to them. I think sometimes people think that shh, 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 that they're afraid of what would happen if they indict. They're afraid. I think they are trying to manage the situation. Um, Trying to suppress information, not even necessarily to protect police officers as much as trying to keep the public calm. Like, oh, blame this on the grand jury. Let's make this go away. And all kinds of different agendas. And the only agenda that should be here is let's hear the truth. Whatever happens, whatever the fallout is, let's just hear it. And if that's what we need to do. And I always thought prosecutors' roles were to present an unbiased accounting. And Christina Perez made a really good point. Do you remember what she said as a judge? What her job was is to hear everything, and then all parties come together to come to a solution.
Yes, she
And
did.
and so she gave me a different spin on police officers that I had not heard before. I mean, the whole judicial process. I wasn't thinking like that. And so let's hear the truth. Let's hear those transcripts and see how they turn out.
But yeah, I mean, I've been a juror before, and I'm sure you have as well, Donna.
No, I
And you
haven't.
only make decisions based. You haven't?
No, I've been called a million times, never
really?
been selected. Nope.
Oh, okay. So how are you supposed to make a sound judgment on a case if you're not presented all the evidence? And that's where I think, right? That's where I think that's where I think prosecutors and defense attorneys, that's where they can really kind of skew your thinking because they're not presenting you with all the facts. Their job is to protect their client. And if you are not presented with all the facts because they want to withhold certain things that will make them incriminate their client, then they're not going to present it to grand jury. So
no, grand jury is different though, Daynia.
Yeah.
And grand jurors actually have the right to ask questions. Did you know that when you're in a grand jury, it's very different than it is. The prosecutor presents all kinds of evidence, all kinds of people come forward, and the grand jury can actually sit there and they can ask questions. The prosecutors don't like it. The attorneys don't like it when they ask questions. So it's a little bit different. It's different than just sitting on a jury. I think there's a distinct difference, and I'm not a legal scholar here, but I'm most interested in hearing this.
Well, at the end of the day, I think it's an attorney's job to present all the evidence in their case, whether it's for innocence or guilt. It's your job to present all the evidence for your case.
That's right. So yeah, I totally agree.
Trying to get an indictment, and he truly believes these officers were guilty of, the no-knock warrant is one thing. Not identifying themselves, and her boyfriend had a legal firearm, and maybe felt threatened when somebody busted in the door and fired a shot. Okay, so if he felt that his client was innocent, then it's his job to present that case thoroughly. And I just don't know if he did. I mean, that's just my opinion as a mother. But
right. No, I get it. I think there's some different issues. I mean, the police shot at the wrong house. I mean, they were at the wrong house they were shooting. That's
the wrong house or through the walls.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, that's a dangerous situation to go guns blazing.
Of course. And no one could determine where a bullet is going to end up.
That's
However, right. I think if the her boyfriend shot once, and the police officers shot a total of over 20 to 30 gunshots. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? I just think there's a element of, uh, you know, brazen, like, we're here, we're the authority, we think you're guilty without even knowing what's going on behind your closed doors. Here we are, you know what I mean? It's like above and beyond, but that's just my opinion.
Right. And but I think that I'm looking forward to hearing what different witnesses said. Because one witness said that they did hear the police say, identify themselves.
1 out of 12, yes.
Right. I know. But you know what?
Who changed their mind, changed their, story, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, but I just think it's going to be, I think that, when we let's judge it for ourselves. Let's look at it. Let's hear it. Because
just like the grand jury, we're presented with different information in the media from different people, and we're entitled to our opinions. So I'm sure the grand jury did exactly what you and I are doing.
Yeah, but you know what? But it was one of the grand jurors who felt they weren't getting all the information who brought this suit forward. So this is fantastic. I mean, good for that grand juror.
Yeah, because I think the attorney general blamed it on the jurors. That's it. The grand jury said, well, we presented them with all the information, and it was up to them to come up with the charges, which supposedly is not protocol.
That's
right.
That's right.
So they felt like they were thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
Right. And how often does that happen?
Who knows? I mean, more than we know. But speaking of other things, Jacob Blake, that's been that happened since the last time we spoke. And boy, that was what a frightening, horrific experience. Let's just look at it just from a different point of view for those 3 children and sitting in the back seat of that car, watching their father be shot 7 times. And my goodness, what if one of those bullets had strayed?
And one thing I read, heard, whatever, don't know how true this is, but they were saying that wasn't the car, that wasn't his car, and that wasn't where the children were not in the back of that vehicle. Now that's the police account. Okay, so my point is, regardless of whether the children were in the back, were not in the back, it was his car, wasn't his car. He had a prior, allegation of 3rd degree rape or whatever. There is no reason for a police officer to shoot at point blank range into the back of anyone, white, black, Hispanic, Chinese, 6 times in an effort to subdue him.
That's right. Yeah.
You are trained professional. I don't know how to stop a criminal, but I'm hoping that a police officer does know how to stop a criminal, or anybody for that matter.
Right.
Anybody. I'm not saying he was a criminal. Right. But to shoot someone 6 times at point blank range in the back, I don't think is taught in the police academy. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hope not.
And there are a lot of things that aren't taught. I'm sure. I'm going to bet my life on this in the police academy, that now you resort to judgment, you resort to life experiences, you resort to, upbringing. There's so many things in between the police academy and actually being out on the force that kind of affect their policing.
Right. Well, there were 2 things, though, that I find very remarkable about this case. One is that they have this paralyzed man in the hospital, shackled to his bed. And I'm thinking to myself, where's he going? Where's he going? Hello. Well, they got rid of that. Okay. So that was, they took him out of the handcuffs. But what I find most remarkable, and we talked about this earlier, is that how graceful his family has been.
Oh, amazing.
I would be a roaring crazy person.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I agreed 100%. I thought his mother was phenomenal in her press conferences. She had compassion for the police officer. She had compassion for America. She had compassion for the protesters. She had compassion for everyone. And her son's lying paralyzed in the hospital. And I agree with that, right? I thought because I don't know in that situation if I can be so poised and so encouraging to the world
Okay, guess what?
watching.
I would be a roaring lunatic.
Oh, it would have been,
I would not
it
have
would
any
have been,
grace or dignity.
and
I
I know
know this.
this is not cable, but it would have been a shit show for me. I would have been like, but do you, and I think this is a tough question, but we're talking about a lot of people who have died in the hands of the police.
Yep.
George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain. We're talking about a lot of people who lost their lives. Sandra Bland. Do you think the mere fact that her son is alive, she was more leaning on that glimmer of peace and hope? Like, I could have lost my son, but he's alive. So my compassion and my thanks to the good Lord for saving his life. In other words, I'm not going to
Nope.
no. I
No.
mean, I'd be like,
No.
Lord, thank you so much for keeping my son alive. If you want me to be
Oh,
compassionate, and
no.
I'm going to be that. I'm going to do that.
No, I'm going to tell you why. Her son's never going to walk again.
Okay. I'm sorry. Terrence is leaving.
Bye, Terrence. Her son's never going to walk again.
Yes.
Her son is never going to walk again. He's going to run in his sleep. And I had a cousin who was was injured in an accident and was paralyzed from the waist down. And his life has changed forever. I mean, critically changed forever. I mean,
yeah, but as a Christian woman and a woman of faith, okay, if God is going to, God allowed him to live. Okay, he was paralyzed, but God didn't allow him to live. So as a Christian woman, I'm saying, you know what? Thank God for his life. If he never walks again, I'm fine with that. Thank God for his life. And if that means you want me to be compassionate to the ones who persecuted him, I will do that, Lord. Just keep my son alive.
Okay. Okay. So I get that, but I think that, okay. So wait a minute. I don't buy this. And I'm going to tell you why. Because shoot, now we're saying, hey, at least he lived. This one lived.
No, not from my perspective. I'm just saying, as a mother,
okay,
like maybe she was so grateful that her son was alive or is alive.
Okay, so you're just trying to see how she's looking at it, but
right?
I'm looking at it like, hello.
Oh,
I said,
I agree.
So this one lived. Oh, so this is we're lucky here. Oh,
No. That's not my point. And I'm not saying that at all. I'm just from a mother's perspective, a Christian woman at that, because you could sense her faith. She spoke about her faith that, Lord, if you are going to send a message and you're going to use my son as a vehicle to spread love, to spread, okay, you could have him, but you left him with me. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, no, okay, I hear you, but I'm glad God didn't choose me.
Right.
I guess that's all. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Okay, no, but you know what? I like your perspective, and maybe that is how she's feeling, and maybe that's how she has to feel so that she can survive this.
Right.
Maybe that's, she said, okay, where am I going to find the strength? Here's the strength.
Yes.
He lived.
That's
okay, so maybe that's what she's doing to survive, and that'll get her through the day. And if that's what she has to do, fantastic.
Yep.
So I like that. We should try to see at some point if she wants to come on and talk with us.
Yes.
Because I'd love to hear what her perspective is, because I think I want to know how she's doing it. How is she doing that? Because she spoke about, please don't, do anything illegal in the name of my son.
That's right.
That I found that I found so gracious. Please go out and protest. Please go out and do what you need to do. But do not loot a store. Do not do anything violent.
Right.
And put my son's face on it.
That's right.
And I love that. That was great. And we need more of that. That was beautiful.
It was. I don't know if I could do it. But God bless her. And she is a role model to a lot of people going through. Who have gone through a tragic situation and it's not turning the other cheek. It's just a matter of saying, you know what? This should not be, it shouldn't be happening in America. Like, we are better than that. you know.
Yes, we are.
And you know, like Christina said, her dad came here with the American dream. He wanted to raise money so he could go back to his country and become a doctor. That was what he came here for. You know, so we all come here with that American dream of thinking America is great. It's a great place.
Mhm.
It's a place of inclusivity and unity, and you could be whatever you want as long as you work hard. And when you find out that's not the case, it's very hard. It's very hard, you know,
It
and
must be disappointing.
humbling. It's humbling. You know,
Mm.
it's very, very humbling. And you know, we've had some wonderful guests share some wonderful stories, but you know, the story of the American dream, I think is something as an immigrant, is something that I grapple with, you know, why, and we all, and correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone in America came from somewhere other than the
Oh,
Native Americans, correct?
that's
So
true. That's a true statement.
at some
My,
point
I,
down your lineage, down, there's somebody that crossed over the
that's
seas
right.
or flew into the country
Right.
or
Right.
whatever to get here. So why are
Right.
we so protective of something, one, that's not ours, but two, why
Mm-mm.
can't we, if it worked for us, why can't we accept that it can work for anybody and share the glory of being in this country? It's you know what I mean? I don't understand
Oh
the
no,
why
you're
we're
right.
so.
You know, and Dania, my family dates back to the Mayflower. Um, and when I, we've done our, looked at our family tree, and it's, so impressive. But they were evil people. They
They
did
were,
such
yeah,
they
yeah.
were not kind people. I'm not even gonna tell you who my ancestor is. And and you know he read his journal, and he was despicable towards Indians. Towards
Mhm,
the Indians, he was despicable. And so it was, we kept it, for a while. You go through these different phases. Oh, we're so proud, but it's
mhm.
like, hello, we were so unkind. So and I feel like, okay, so my family's been here for hundreds of years. Oh, big deal. We weren't so nice either. I mean, a lot of people are not a lot nicer than we were when we came.
Yeah,
So it doesn't hold any water with me, you know.
agree. I understand.
It
Well,
just
I think
holds nothing.
our next, you know, and I know you're very passionate about, and I want to mention this about getting the names of all
Oh
the
yeah.
unfortunate
Hmm.
victims of police brutality in a video. And, you know, one person I do want to talk about is Elijah
Okay.
McCain. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And you know, I know most of you know the story, so I'm not going to go into the story. But what I do want to share is his last words,
Uh,
and I think this is because a lot of people say, "Be compliant, do what the police officers say to do, and you will get home safely." And sometimes I don't think that is the case. I mean, it's not all. It's not always the case. So I want to
yeah.
just share his last words and with the audience. I can't breathe. I have my ID right here. My name is Elijah McLean. That's my house. I was just going home. I'm an introvert. I'm just different. That's all. I'm sorry. I have no guns. I don't do stuff. I don't do any fighting. Why are you attacking me? I don't even hurt flies. I don't eat meat, but I don't judge people. I don't judge people who do eat meat. Forgive me. All I was trying to do was become better. I will do it. I will do anything. Sacrifice my identity. I'll do it. You are phenomenal. You are beautiful, and I love you. Try to forgive me. I'm a mood Gemini. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ow. That really hurt. You all are very strong. Teamwork makes the dream work. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to do that. I just can't breathe correctly. Those were his last words. And for me, you know, and we discussed this on the first topic, the first, you know, conversation that we had, telling my boys to be compliant and to comply when they're being stopped by police. But sometimes it's not good enough.
No, it's not.
Sometimes there's a whole other agenda as to why they're being so aggressive or demeaning or punitive or just like I'm superior and you're inferior. Don't forget it. You know what I mean? And it goes to a level where they cross the line and it's a death. It's a
Right.
death of an innocent person who's just trying to get home.
Right. That's right.
So,
Yep. And it, you and I both, it's been a very emotional time for us going through this because we've spoken, people just see this little piece of us and
yeah.
we're smiling, we're talking, and our conversations outside of here are very solemn much of the time, and
Mhm.
heart wrenching. And our goal, one of our goals on our page that we're working on right now is to every single child, you know, every single person has a mother. And on our site, you will find a lovely picture of the person who's no longer with us and their name, and that this is the son of and the mother's name. And because this is a mother's journey what we're on right now,
Correct.
and it's up to us to say protect all of our children. And I have, my child is almost 40 years old, but she's still my baby, and if something happened to her, they're always your babies no matter how old they are. And um I think it's up to us to say, to lose a child is heart-wrenching, and to lose a child in such a brutal manner is unforgivable. And, well, for me, it is. And I think that, I'd like to honor these mothers who had these horrific losses and their children. And it's time for us to, as mothers, to say, there should be no more children to die like this.
Mhm.
And I think we can be the instruments of change. And that's why Daniel and I do this, and we keep
Yeah.
plugging, and we're not going to stop until we don't have anything to talk about.
Right. I agree. I agree. And we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to be a resource for mothers out there, a platform for this type of discussion, a solution. I think more importantly to
We
end
are the solution.
eradicate racism.
Mothers are the
You know,
solution.
yeah, and prayer,
Yes.
because there is a lot of systemic racism and boundaries and hurdles and laws and so many things that are in place and have been in place for hundreds of years to keep us where we are.
Right.
And I think we need to break down those barriers. We need to, and someone said it so eloquently. Can we just start America all over again? But
Yeah.
we're all here, okay? However we got here, we're all human. We're
Right.
all deserving of equality. Let's just
That's right.
start new laws because the laws have to change. And if they don't change, people are going to continue to lean on the law to right their right and to run their ship. And I think that has to change. There's still a lot of things in place that are keeping people in the places that they are. And within
It goes
the
it,
boundaries
it
that
goes beyond the laws, Dania. It goes right to when a child comes into the world. What do we teach this child? Are we open? Are we loving? Are we accepting? Do we love diversity? Because
yes.
racism hurts all of us. It hurts the person committing the racism, because why are they doing that? Are they angry? Is it some anger? Like where does that come from? Why have I been taught this? Um, so I guess what I'm saying is that, from day one, when we're bringing a child home, to be open and loving to the world, and diversity just makes us richer.
Yes.
And let's celebrate our diversity rather than, you know, uh, what is it? We have a melting pot. I don't even know if I like that word, the melting pot. I think it's more like, what? Lots of good spices in the soup. You know, I like the spice. So I don't know. So the
Yeah,
journey goes on, and
it does. And
if
we will
anyone
not
has
we will
any,
not stop. We will
no,
not stop.
no,
Can't stop, won't stop.
right. And so just two quick things. If
Yes.
anyone knows, we're really open to suggestion. If you want to hear from a particular mother, we'll see if we can put her on,
Yep.
because we have some great mothers coming up. If you want us to discuss a certain topic, we're open to that. And if you know of a mother who's lost a child and we've missed that child, oh, please tell us, because we will include that child.
Great.
So this is not just Dania and I, our journey. It is Oliver.
Amen.
Okay.
And we really are not. Obviously, we're a nonprofit organization. We're not doing this for any monetary gain. We want to be able to have grants and scholarships and lend our voices and our community to any cause where we feel mothers need to obviously step up and support. So
Great.
we are selling our T-shirts, Mothers
Oh yeah.
Against Racism.
Yep. There we are.
We
Here
do
we
have
are.
masks available with every T-shirt. We're actually looking to do other put our brand and our movement on other items.
Right. Look for lawn signs. They're coming.
Lawn signs, but we're very passionate about what we do. We'll continue, like Donna said. If you have any suggestions, any guests that you want to see come on, please, comment, add. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We even have a YouTube channel. So wherever you want to lend your comments and your support, please, we are always open and welcome to anything that you can add to this movement.
And there's one more thing I want to talk about tonight, real quick. If you have not registered to vote, please register to vote. Please vote. It is, I don't care if you vote Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you want to do, but it's our right as Americans to vote. And we need to exercise this. We need to empower ourselves, to have the kind of country we want to have. And we're not going to ever say vote for this person, vote for that person. That's not our place. But our place is to tell you to vote. And we'll always have it on Facebook, different links, and it's really simple. I did it myself, and I vote all the time, but I said I want to see how this works. And you can actually look up and see if you're registered to vote, and then you can and I did my vote by mail, and I want to see the process. And in Massachusetts, we can actually follow the time that I received my ballot. I sent my ballot, and it was processed.
Oh,
I mean,
good. I was thinking about that.
you can see the whole process, because
Oh.
my vote has an actual barcode on it, and it's attached to my name, and I couldn't see how I voted, but it did say my vote counted. And I thought that was awesome. So this really does work, okay? And so, and I read a thing today in the Washington Post, I believe it was, and this gentleman actually said, if you can vote in person and feel safe to do so in this election, do it. And I'm going to make one more suggestion. There is, the potential is for voter intimidation this year. And I think that if you feel like you're nervous about voting, go with a couple of friends, go with a family, go together, make it a fun night out, like, a fun afternoon. We're going to vote, and then we're going out for dinner.
Wine and vote. Wine and vote. I like that.
But vote. The bottom line is vote.
They have sip and paint, sip and vote.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I can't say it enough. As Americans, it's our duty to vote. We don't have any rights to complain if we don't exercise our right to vote.
Right.
Okay?
And that goes beyond the voting for the office of president. It's also your senators, your House of Representatives,
your mayors, your governors.
The governors. It's beyond the office of the president. So voting is very, very, and it doesn't only happen once every 4 years.
Well, we vote every year, but this year is big, and a big year. There are lots of things on the ballot. There are always going to be questions, local things, but it's up to us to educate ourselves on topics, candidates, and just read. Social media isn't necessarily always going to give you all the answers. They can be slanted either direction. And I find that I read a number of different sources each day to try to help me stay balanced, But anyway, vote.
Vote. All right. Well, we'll leave you guys with that note. If you remember anything else from this conversation, please remember to register to vote, cast your vote, and remember you are shaping the future of this country with that election. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We're looking forward to our next guest next week, October 7th.
Yep.
The Mayor of Gloucester is going to be on with us. And
Safathia, yep, she's just
Safathia,
terrific.
and, we're just, thank you for joining us and thank you for listening. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, buy a t-shirt and a mask in support of Mothers Against Racism. But and more importantly, continue to raise your babies to be great citizens of this country. I think that's what's most important. So with that, we'll say good night.
Good night.
All right, Donna.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.